Hi everyone, Summer with AstariaSen, and today we're going to talk about some decks. Now, a lot of the time, the tarot and oracle decks that we see online, they look great, they look amazing, but then once we get them in person, they fall flat, they fall short of our expectations, and they fall short inside our practice. So I'm going to be recommending decks for you today, but fairy edition, of course. And this is part of Novamundi's hashtag editor pick decks. Sorry about that. Let me turn you around. We'll go to my tarot table and let's get started.
Okay, let's get started. So there are 15 prompts from Nova, and so there's 15 decks. I will get through this as fast as possible because you know me, I like my videos to be a little shorter, not a little longer. So the first prompt is the deck you would recommend for inner child work because it feels safe, nurturing, playful, and ideal for connecting with the innocence. So Catacorn is mine because it feels safe and it feels nurturing, and it also feels extremely playful. This deck is so adorable, and it gives good readings. It gives really good readings, but in a very safe and friendly manner. Like, who doesn't like little animal cats, right? I don't have a lot of animal decks, so that should tell you something. But the Catacorn one is super cute and just starts us off real nice with this tag. The second one is a shadow work deck. It's a deck that is honest, deep, and unafraid to confront the difficult. And I chose the Forhoxa Tarot. This is the indie version, but you can get it mass market. I tried to keep most of my decks to tarot and mass market. So sorry if a couple of them are not, but I think all of them are. So this is what I chose for the Forhoxa. I just wanted to show like a couple of the top cards. So like this one kind of feels like honesty to me, right? This one definitely feels very deep. Like she's deep in the forest and she's coming out of it even. And then this one is so unafraid. Like, look at all of those dragons she's going to be confronting. And this is another fairy deck that it just has a different way about it, and it gives solid readings, absolutely solid readings. It's a little bit different because she's kind of following, like the creator followed a story for each card. And I mean, not like a full-on story, but her idea was that she would walk in and see a glimpse of fairy, and that fairy would tell her the story of whatever card they were. So it's a really interesting concept. It provides some really involved readings. And I feel like it also dives deeper into fairy stuff, just in a little bit different way than other fairy decks do. It's a little bit darker, just a little bit. Okay, the third one is deity work or spirit work. And for me, that's like fairy work and stuff like that. But I did have, this is where we come into, the next couple of decks are not tarot decks, they are oracle decks, because I don't really work with deities. But if I did, this is what I would choose. This is what I kind of choose to use for like my higher self, sacred energy, channeling messages, being able to meditate on a card or look at a card and really see more into it. So it works kind of like a bridge that connects you a little bit further. So the Mystic Sisters Oracle deck is so beautiful. I mean, I could totally just meditate on these cards. Some of them are fierce, some of them are gentle, some of them, like this one's bright and still falls within my fairy realm, absolutely, for me. But this is like all sunshiny, and then this one, I mean, look how deep you could go in your meditations or in your journaling work. And this isn't even guidebook yet. This is just looking at the art itself, because there's just so much that you can gain from the actual art that I feel like you can, tap into that sacred energy or that channeled message that you might be seeking, or even just deity work, because a lot of these are different kinds of goddesses. So it's really interesting that I don't work with this deck more, actually, because it's absolutely stunning. And then this is the other one that's not a tarot deck. It's number 4, and it's Ancestor work. I just recently started working with Ancestor stuff, like in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. But this deck right here, I found to be very beneficial because I am just starting my ancestor work. I've barely done anything with ancestor work. And this is like for connecting with ancestors, wisdom, you know, opening paths to ancestral connections and that kind of thing. So this deck really did that for me, mainly because of the keywords on the card, also what the cards represent. Like this one says cycles, and you can kind of see it just feels ancestry. Like it has this idea about it of the past, right? This one says your body, but I picked this card because of like the Egyptian thing, and a lot of people talk about Egyptian or crocodiles or stuff like that. And some of these cards, I mean, they just really speak to the past for me. And that's why I would use it for my ancestor work. And I've only done it a couple of times. It's not, you know, a super big thing. Like this is like queen energy to me, royalty, ferrets. So there's a lot that you can gain from these cards before you even dive into the actual book, which I love about it. All right, so that's all for my oracle decks that are going to show up in this. Number 5, prompt is divination, a deck that excels in traditional divination, clear, direct, accurate, top pick for practical answers. And I picked the Mystic Fairy Tarot. And this one's, I mean, it's very practical to me. It's got a lot of good qualities about it. It stays true to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith form, but it just adds fairy touch to it, right? A little bit of enchantment, a little bit of nature, a little bit of fun in some of the cards. Just, I don't know, I guess that little bit extra that I'm always looking for when it comes to my practice personally. So I always work with decks. I try to always work with decks that benefit my practice in somehow. And since I'm so fairy orientated in my practice, this would be my practical. This is my practical, you know, traditional style deck that I would just jump on board with. All right, so the next one, number 6, is As Above. It's the deck that connects reader to spiritual realms. It's ideal for like soul work, life path exploration, or messages from the higher self. And for this one, I chose the Enchanted Forest Tarot, mainly because it has that like path working and soul feel to it. And I found when I was working with like creative path working for even my doll art and stuff like that, I could create stories with these cards, and I feel like our soul path and our everything that we're doing, we're creating our own story within our life already. So these cards just tell soul to me. They just say soul work. They say path work, you know, and traveling, and I just find it a really calm, inviting space to safely travel within that kind of work, because soul work isn't easy work. Our life path work is not easy work either. And though this isn't quite as traditional in the guidebook, I do think that there's a lot within the cards that you could just gain if you do meditations, or if you're doing journaling, or if you're trying to channel internal ideals, core values, anything like that. Your soul work would definitely come out in these cards. They're just so stunning, and they invite the idea of that connection to the soul to me. So it's my tried and true for that. All right, number 7 is So Below, and it's a deck for grounded real-world readings, captures the everyday emotions, human experience, stuff like that. So this is not going to be a traditional deck. Well, I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's beware if you do not like anything naked, okay, because some of the cards do show some naked form in it. This is the tarot of the fairy folk. So this is kind of a mixture between Thoth and RWS. And this one right here feels very everyday to me. That's why I chose it, the capturing of everyday emotions, because it feels a little bit more realistic than a lot of other decks. Like, He's rummaging. He's going through things. This is the Four of Wands. He's looking through all of his stuff, and this is why I'm saying it's not, traditional RWS. This would normally be like a what would it be? A celebration card, right? Four of Wands. And he's not really celebrating. He's going through his stuff. He's, that's foundation kind of work there, stuff he already has. And it's really interesting to just see them work out their everyday lives in the cards, because I mean, who's not going to sit around and shoot at flies, even though he's shooting at a bee, right? Because they now have fly guns. This just spoke heavily to grounded, real world, everyday adventures. This could be when like you're flying high and you got a great idea and you're just going for it, right? Playing chess. Come on. How much more every day could you actually get other than actually working, playing, being bored, right? Okay, the strength card is fantastic. I mean, seriously, this just speaks every day, but there's a lot of weird cards in this deck too, so be aware of that. Like this one right here, this is the Hangman. Holy cow. I don't even know how to explain some of these cards. They're a lot darker in a lot of aspects, but I also feel like that provides that everyday life too, because everyday life is not always uplifting and amazing and wonderful and positive. We have this darker side to our everyday life too to really look at. So this is why I chose this one for the So Below Your Deck for Grounded Real World readings, because it feels very real world to me, even though it has a lot of fae going on inside. Okay, the next deck is the Hug deck. It's the deck that offers emotional support and comfort. It's gentle, compassionate, soothing, feels like a warm hug, sorry. And this shouldn't surprise very many people, but I think this is also based off personal gnosis, okay? I think that if you find a deck that you feel that way for, with, then hold on to it. But not everybody's going to feel the same way about all the decks that other people think are hug decks, because what I find gentle and compassionate may not be the same as somebody else. But anyways, mine is Crystal Visions Tarot. This is my go-to. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. This is the deck I run to for everything. It does great with relationship readings, so that's even relationship with self, hence the hug part of it. It is a gentle reader. It's got gentle colorings. It also is a fairy deck, so it's right there with me. It gives me that ethereal feel, but it's very calm. It's not over, I don't know, it doesn't feel like it's overwhelming, I guess. It gives warmness a lot of the time for me. Even in the darker cards, I still get a warmth to it that I don't feel in a lot of other decks. I consider this my soul deck, which is why it would be my hug deck. So if you do like gentle readings and self-love and that kind of thing, this is a really good quality source, in my opinion, for that kind of reading style. It just lends really well to self-love or relationships, being kind to yourself, just that gentleness that we need sometimes when the rest of the world feels like super harsh. So that's my go-to. Number 9 is the Feel Good deck. Now you would think that Crystal Visions would be my Feel Good deck, but hear me out. Because this is absolutely the cutest thing ever. And this Feel Good deck is like uplifts, it encourages, it has energy to it, and joy and empowerment. This Sweet Foragers Tarot is absolutely all of that to me. Not only is the stature of it, the small stature of it, cute for me and brings me joy because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's such a cute deck, but the coloring does, okay? And the art that's on the cards. Like, this reminds me of my grandmother, and my grandmother brings me so much joy. I love that woman to death. But the cards are simple. They're easy to read. They're really smooth. I mean, they're really smooth, and they're super cute. They fall within that fairy realm for me, so that still sticks to that fae energy that I'm always working with within my practice. But it gives me feel good stuff, and it also gives me empowerment. And I'm not really sure if it's the colors that make me feel empowered or just the general joy energy of the deck that makes me feel that way. But this is my feel good deck. It is so cute, so sweet, and I love working with it. It just gives a whole different kind of feeling altogether. All right, number 10 is the most versatile deck recommendation, like for handling any type of readings, love, all of them, for all of it. Shadow work, it's reliable, it's flexible, it's reader friendly and adaptable. That would be the tarot at the end of the rainbow. Now, this deck is very basic, but it's a great, just generic reader deck. It follows the Rider-Waite system really well. It gives a lot of positive parts to it, but it also shows darker aspects. It just feels like there's so much adaptability within this deck that it doesn't matter what kind of reading you need to do, whether it's career orientated, creativity orientated. I mean, it's got fae in it, right? Soul searching, romance, all of that is just all like tied up in this deck. I could see any kind of reading being done with this deck. Absolutely any kind of reading for sure. All right, sorry about that. My husband called, so where was I? Oh yeah, okay. So I just did most versatile. Now I'm on number 11, which is the most inspiring, which is recommended to inspire creativity, intuition, and flow. So I picked Shadowscapes for that because the Shadowscapes deck is literally all about creativity and flow. Now, for me personally, it's a little hard for me to read with this deck because of my eyesight. I have really bad eyesight, but that doesn't mean that other people could not get a lot from this deck. And even I, with my bad eyesight, I am able to see enough that it definitely inspired me. It definitely has a really natural and creative flow in a general sense by just the way the artwork is done. And the readings they're not harsh. They're on point for me. And they have a flow to them too. Like she creates these little stories for the cards, which then provides a unique like inspiration too, especially if you enjoy stories or you enjoy art, which most of us who collect tarot decks, I think we do enjoy stories and art, but I think we also want to be able to connect to them. And I think that's the harder part with this deck, is being able to see all the little details. But at the same time, it's also kind of the fun part, because every time I did a reading, I would notice something different, which would again invoke that creativity in me. It would spark something. And I loved that about this deck. I still love that about this deck. I just don't read with it as often as I used to when I first started. It's an absolutely beautiful, stunning deck, this Shadowscapes, and it's been around for a long time. It's really easy to get your hands on, and it's one of my tried and true. Okay, the next one, number 12, is Best for Beginners. This is the deck I would confidently recommend to someone. It's clear, easy, and accessible. Okay, for me, that's going to be the Fae Tarot. Hear me out, okay? It looks a little on the strange side, but it follows the RWS system, okay? And especially for beginners, it is fun and unique, okay? So you're not looking at just RWS style. This one's Judgment. You still get the RWS ideas involved, but there's also this wake up that's being pulled in with Judgment. So I feel like this deck would really give beginners a option when they're interpreting cards, and they're easy. It's accessible. You could tell what's going on in the card. It is not hard to figure it out whatsoever. It's got good coloring. It's got, inspiring, imagery and creative ideas. Sometimes a little, outside of the box, but all still within the normal realm of the Rider-Waite Smith. So this is the one that I would suggest for beginners, especially, if you're just beginner deck. Not necessarily beginner Fae working deck, but if you wanted to, this would be, you could definitely try to use this as a connection to the Fae. I have not used this specifically as a connection to the Fae. It's just one of the decks that I enjoy reading with as a general rule. Because it's just easy. It's really simple. It's got clear images. It's got a lot of interpretive value to me. It's easy to journal from. It's easy to do readings from. It's easy and clear to just understand what's going on. So this would be my suggestion for beginners. The next one is 13, Best for Professionals. Now, this one's harder for me because I think if you're reading on a hotline or something like that, this deck might not work out for you. But if you're reading professionally and you have the time to spend, I would recommend Fairy Lights Tarot. Now, when she did this prompt, it was a deck for experienced readers who need in-depth, nuance, story, symbolism, ideal for layered readings. That's why I chose this one, because this is absolutely all of that, okay? It's just not one that would be great if you're trying to do something super fast. So if you've been around my channel for a while, you know this is one of my underdog decks. This is one of the decks that I'm like, oh man, I wish more people talked about this, because even though it has little white book stuff and whatnot, it's a fairy deck, very fae energy, very fae workings, all of that. It's definitely one you could work with fairy work too. But the artist created a single picture, cut it in half, and that thus then created, there we go, that way, created 2 separate cards. Now you'll notice one is a cup and one is a sword. On some of the other ones, one might be a major arcana, one might be a minor. So say you pull this card and then you find the partnered card with it, you now have a layered reading, okay? A 3-card reading automatically turns into a 6-card reading. So if this one came up and this one would be your secondary card, this is your first meaning and this is your secondary meaning to layer on top of it, that creates a full image for the reading. And it's really, really unique. And all of the cards are like that. All of the cards have a partner, every single one of them. And it does, it does create a lot of in-depth. This is a kind of intuitive deck. It has a lot of intuitiveness with it. It's got a lot of fae energy. It's got a lot of really, I guess more, I don't even know what the word is for it. It's definitely more nuanced, okay? It's definitely more nuanced. You definitely have to look a little bit harder. So, but it's one of my favorites. It's absolutely one of the decks that I like the best. Like, look at this, okay? You're starting off with the Empress card, the 3, right? And you're going into the 5 of Wands. And what's interesting is you have these people, right? Here they start, and they're going down, 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 and they're actually transforming. They're transforming. Isn't that cool? Like, you take it from one card all the way over to the other, it just flows beautifully. It's got a whole idea that goes behind it. The Empress is a creative energy too. It's a transformative energy. It's, it's a lot of that kind of stuff. And I like that they're going up to the moon. It's just so unique. This deck is so unique, and it would be a challenge for even, intermediate readers. But if you're looking for something that has a lot more nuance, that has a lot more depth to it, that you could do a lot more with, this would be the deck. Like, I don't have them all paired, but the cards, they have a lot of value. They have a lot. They're left up a lot to intuitive work, knowing your RWS style, and being able to, tap into a little bit of that creative or fae energy to explore a reading and really layer it up. Because this is one of those decks that goes like in and out of spaces too. So there's a lot going on in this deck, which I absolutely love. It's taken me forever to really understand and work with this deck. So the next one, number 14, is Witchy Vibes, a deck for those who love witchy aesthetics, moody vibes, magical symbolism, spell work, etc. So we're keeping with all the fae. We're keeping with all the fae still. Mine is the Tarot of the Hidden Realms. Okay, not only is the book amazing and you can dive deep into the cards with the book, but are you really going to tell me this doesn't look like spell work and witches and moody? Because it absolutely does. This deck is a moody, moody beast. And it is so much a witchy vibe to me, like a fairy witch vibe. And I love that about this deck. It's a little bit darker. Hidden Realms, it's a little bit, it touches a little bit on the, I don't know, it's not less positive necessarily, but there's some harsh readings that can come out of this deck, even with some of the nicer looking cards, okay? But this deck is very fae energy. It's high value. It has a lot of depth to it. Does have a lot of mood, a lot of aesthetic, a lot of witchy, a lot of fairy, and I don't know, it's just very magical to me. It just, even with all the moons and stuff like that, this is one of those cards, like, I really feel like I'm taking a look into another time, another place, another world. And I love that about this deck. And it's a tried and true deck. There's many, many people who adore this deck and work with it in different ways. It's great for a deep dive. It's great for just all sorts of different kinds of readings that you can really just dive into. All right, the last one I have is number 15 is the Astrology deck. So this is the deck for astrologers, astrologer lover, you know, the cosmic seekers, celestial guidance, all that kind of thing. Now, first and foremost, I need to tell you, I don't work a lot with astrology. Okay, I don't. I'm a very basic astrology type person. So I'm going to give you a very basic astrology style deck, the Sun and Moon Tarot. Now, I know that every one of the cards that are in this deck have a connection to, you know, whatever sign they are, right? Capricorn, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, all that stuff. And it tells you in the guidebook too. But this also looks very celestial. You know, you got the sky. The sky's a big deal in this deck. Look at how big, how much space the sky actually takes up in this deck. It's kind of crazy. So it's very celestial to me. It's very one of those ones that, you know, connect or tap into celestial energy and astrological stuff too. So that would be my choice for this. It's easy to read. It's clear, it's simple, it's precise, and it also has that fae energy for me too. I mean, it's all over the place. A good rounding of something that I would consider a deck for people who enjoy astrology. Somebody who might like fae in astrology, right? But it feels like a very clear reader. And it definitely has, the sky's a big deal in this deck. It's definitely a big deal in this deck. So anyways, that's all I have for you. We went through that pretty quickly, I hope. And I hope you enjoyed my recommendations and suggestions. Let me know which deck you liked the most, if you have any of these decks, and how you feel about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to go over to Nova's channel and check out hers. If you have not watched it yet, I will leave the link down in the description. You guys have a very great day.